right, welcome today to Flourish Women TV. We're excited to be here. I am your host, Dr. Nikkei Natson. On today, this is actually, something I'm really excited about being here. This is the first fruit I have. One of my friends that I met, from doing podcasts, from doing TV, from doing media, from doing different things. God has connected me with so many different wonderful people, and I have the honor and the privilege today to platform none other than Dorthy today. You all will get to hear a little bit about her and her story, but I want to welcome each and every one of you all to Flourish Women TV. This is hashtag unapologetically me, and our mantra here is we rise by lifting others. And also too, I want you all to understand and know that I am enough. That is our moniker that we go by. I am enough. So I want you to understand and know that you are enough, no matter what you're faced with in life, no matter what you're going through, that you are enough. Because sometimes the enemy can come up against us in our mind to make us think that, that we're nothing, that, that we can't overcome, that we can't come through things, but you can. You are overcomer. You can come through, and you are enough. You are enough. And I want you to know that I love you. If somebody else didn't tell you that today, I want you to know that I love you with the love of Christ, and God loves you even at a greater magnitude than I can ever love you. But the Father is my Father. So I carry his DNA. So I love you with the love of Christ, and I want you all to know that. So we want to welcome to this platform none other than Dorthy Odell today. I'm excited to hear what she has to say, because I know what's on the inside of her belly is going to authorize your shift. Anybody that comes on here, I don't want to get stirred up, because I already feel the anointing. I'm stirred up and I feel preach coming on. So let me bring it down a little bit, that fire down a little bit on today, so that preach mode won't come on. But I'm excited because what's on the inside of her belly is going to authorize your shift. And anybody that comes on this platform, anybody that comes on this show, anybody that comes on Zenit TV network, global media, that what's in their belly, that shift is going to authorize your shift. So you got to understand that, and you got to know that, because this is voices that are authorized. This is the only network for voices that are authorized. So this woman of God that I'm bringing on here is more than definitely an authorized voice. God has sat down many, he's fired many, but some people are still up operating, working, and they have no anointing. So I thank God for the anointing that's on her life. So we're going to bring her forth, and you guys are going to get to hear from her as we go through and we have our conversation. Just us as women being unapologetically who we are.
Welcome. Wow. That was quite the introduction. I thank you. I'm fired up just listening to you. I'm like, who is this amazing person she's talking about?
I'm talking about you, amazing woman of God. I'm talking about you, phenomenal woman. I'm talking about you. That's what I'm talking about.
I receive everything that you just said and more. And I'm telling you, today is that day. And it's like, oh man, I was just talking to my girlfriend Gina when we were on our walk last Saturday. And I talked about the tipping point, because we all get to a tipping point in our lives where, we all are going after something in life, and we've been killing it and killing it and killing it. Yeah. And there comes a time in our lives, the enemy doesn't want us to get that. And then all of a sudden he plays with our mind, little things, put you in a tailspin. It's like squirrel here, squirrel there. And I decided last Tuesday was my deciding factor. I had a network meeting with a bunch of millionaires and billionaires for the very first time. I was invited to this platform, and I was like, I'm not sure what to expect. I just know I have to be there. And I showed up in this outfit. My girlfriend says, imagine what you're wearing when certain things happen in your life. Like I'm up against some different projects, different things like that. And she says, imagine what you're wearing when everything comes through, when that paycheck comes through. What are you wearing when you're at the bank? So I said, sister, it was my red shirt. And I wish I would have put it on. I literally walked through the door and came on here. And so it was like my red shirt and my black leather pants. And that day I knew it was my tipping point. And from then on, it's just like, it's been, the universe is messing with me. It's just, I know you want it. Let's see how badly you want it. And so I've never given up. And today was one of those days where, the old you, it would have put you like in a tailspin, but the new me is like, oh no, the snake is under my foot, and let's go, because God has got this, and let's just keep walking through.
All right, all right. Well, that's good to hear. They're good to hear. Your excitement and everything, and then you being in with billionaires and billionaires. See, so God is already repositioning your seat and changing your seat. So you see what I'm saying? So God is already up to something. Something is brewing in the heavens. So I know He's up to something. So when you say stuff like that, so and then you see things different. When you especially when you a woman that's flourishing in the earth and you are unapologetically being who you are, when your conversation, when you sit at seats and tables, your conversation is different. You know what I'm saying? It's not a conversation about where you're jealous or you envious of somebody else, or you talk about them, look at what they got on, look at this, look at that. Your conversation is different because you're on a higher plane. You know what I'm saying? You're soaring above. So that is music to my ears to hear you say that more than definitely God is doing that, and then He's putting you out before people and presenting you before millionaires and billionaires.
Yeah.
So that's all.
It's been amazing. It's like the people that I've needed to put different links together. It's like he says, here you go. And I've been connecting with different people, and wow, you're one of them, in the last month that I've connected with. And it's just been like, boom. And it's just like, here he is, this person, and this person, they all play a puzzle piece to what has been missing to get me through, to the other side. So it's absolutely amazing. And I loved your opening where you had the crown, because as women, you're right. We should not be jealous of each other. We should straighten each other's crown. So if one of us is having a bad day, it's your job to straighten it and remind her of just how flippin' amazing that she really is, and just really straighten it. And, and I'm really blessed to have that tribe of women around me that's what we do.
Awesome. So we want you to tell us about yourself. Who is the woman behind the beautiful face and smile? Talk to us about yourself.
Well, oh my gosh. Well, I'm a child of God. I'm a wife. I'm a stepmom, a daughter, an auntie, and I love helping people. Like that is my jam. I love promoting people. I love people, getting people's messages out. I believe we all have a story. And after, sharing, after coming up with my book and my story and putting myself out there, I realized when I was networking with people just how many amazing people there are out there. And I want the world to know them, because you're all amazing. And, in life, we all go through some difficult challenges. I mean, I spent majority of my childhood being bullied and had low self-esteem. So I know what it's like, to go through that. And I never wanted anybody to feel that way. And I know there is lots of women out there, we all get into this, well, not all, but some of us get into this thing where, we don't believe in ourselves. So then, when somebody actually says something nice to you, you believe it, but is it the devil or the deep blue sea? Because I fell into the trap where it was the devil. And that was a 4-year road trip from hell that I hated. But it made me who I am today. It made me stronger. It made me resilient. And I know for a fact that I do not put myself into that situation. And my husband, I love him to death, but he's probably like, man, like, cause he doesn't get away with anything, but then he doesn't allow me to get away with anything either. So it's, and you need that. You need people that in gently and love are going to say, listen, I didn't like what you said. I didn't like what you did. Let's fix it. And that's who I am. Instead of being that person that, would be someone's doormat. I'm no longer anybody's doormat. But I will help you to overcome that. And so that was basically me in a nutshell. I mean, I suffered a lot of loss in my life. My uncle took his life back when I was in my early 20s. And that takes its toll on a person. There was a lot more after that, but it's really taking those moments and taking the tests and making them into our testimony, I believe. And I know that I couldn't have walked through any of that without God. And I'm just really blessed that, I have him in my life, and he saved me from my abusive relationship. And since then, it's just been game on. It's just like, let's change the world.
Well, that's good. That's good. So now we're going to talk about my definition of a flourishing woman. Now, my definition of a flourishing woman is a woman that has many scars, but her scars does not define who she is. She has become a weapon of mass destruction to the kingdom of darkness and a skilled tool utilized in the hands of God for the kingdom. Her experiences in life have made her better and not bitter. Her aim and goal in life is to please God and to give him every part of herself unapologetically without regret or fear. So in this type of defining moments, a woman that's flourishing, meaning blossoms, grows, evolves intentionally, becomes better, unlock their kingdom authority because they understand who they are. They're not having an identity struggle, nor are they envious or jealous of others. They collide with God's purpose and move into greater destiny. Now, with that definition and that being said, I want you to think about that. And as a woman, how do you define yourself as a woman who understands her kingdom authority and her assignment as a woman who's flourishing, not envious or jealous of other women?
Wow, that is an amazing question. Like I said, I see myself lifting others up, men or women, because
Right.
men need that too. And in a world where they're not supposed to share their vulnerability, now more than ever, men are cracking as well. And
Right. Right.
I've witnessed this. I've had a lot of veterans on my show, and it has been a true testimony of seeing how the strong will survive, but at what cost, right? Because
Right.
they're trained to think a certain way. So
Right.
I believe if we have the mentality of a veteran, meaning that, it's teamwork, because let's face it, in order to survive, they have to rely on other people.
Right.
So, but when they get out, what they've seen, the trauma that they've seen has, can destroy them if they let it. So it's our job as civilians to wrap around our veterans and say, listen, I'm here for you. Let's talk about this. Let's share the moments and things like that. So when I think of everything that you just said, I think of us wrapping our arms around these people and just being vulnerable and sharing our stories and just being there for them and allowing them to see the light of Jesus in us shine through us into them. And it's funny because my husband didn't know anything about the church before I met him, and we'll be driving and all of a sudden he'll say, you're praying, aren't you? Okay. Now we were in the middle of a snowstorm and things were dicey on the street, on the road. And I was just like, I'm not sure. So I was praying and he goes, you're praying, aren't you? I'm like, yes. And I will, and continue till I get home. So,
Right.
it's not making him, wrong for anything that he believes, but just being there beside him. And he knows who I am and that my light shined in him. And that's what he was attracted to. Right. It was that what God projects in me, or what God sees in me, is projected out, if that makes sense. So
Right.
yeah, just letting others shine, and if somebody is being rude or disrespectful to you, just show kindness and love back.
Right.
It's going to make them stop in an instant, and it's going to make them think. And then, then everybody feels happy because you feel happy because poured love into somebody else, or at least that's how I see it. I mean, when I'm helping somebody else, that's when I feel my best. But maybe it's just me. I don't know.
Well, that's good. That's good. That's the phenomenal part of yourself. So that's good. That's good. So now the next question is, can you describe a time in your life you had to overcome adversity or grow your faith in order to get where you are today, to become a flourishing woman that's unapologetic about who you are?
Oh my gosh. I think my whole life has been nothing but one thing after another. But I will say that the most recent, my dad was diagnosed with cancer 2.5 years ago. And so, and right at that time, I had just gotten engaged. I found the love of my life late in life. And so here I was, 41 or 42 years old, just gotten engaged. And then my dad gets
Oh, wow.
cancer. Yeah. So it was shocking. And because my dad was like, my dad is my best friend. Right. And so, um,
Wait, hold that thought, Dorothy. Hold that thought for a second. See, you guys, I want you to listen, hone in on what she said. She said 41, 42. She got engaged and then got married. So those that are still women in waiting, you a lady in waiting, it's still not too late. God still has somebody out there for you, no matter what your age is. So that's the point I wanted you to get, so you can flourish in understanding and knowing that you still yet being found. The diamond in the rough is still yet being shined up. So your whoever it is, if your Boaz, your James, your John, your Paul, whoever, your junior, it could be, they're still looking for you. So don't give up. Don't give up on love, that you are still yet lovable, and somebody is out there that's going to find you, that's going to love you and treat you like the queen that you deserve to be treated like, so you can unapologetically be who you are, and you can be a woman that flourishes in this earth. All right, go ahead, Doc.
Well, and can I say one thing to that point though, too?
Yeah.
Like, so I had this book by Joel Osteen, and he had said, write your petitions of who you really want as a husband, right? And then put it down as a petition and then put it away. So I did that. And I had a 10-year healing journey when I left the abusive relationship to when I first met my husband. And I took a whole year to just I had my apartment for the very first time when I hit 40, and I was just loving life and just really it was just great. And I had more one-on-one time with God back then than I've ever had in my life. And sometimes I miss it, but I love my husband. Let's just put it that way. He keeps me busy. So that being said, I thought I knew what the perfect man was for me.
Right.
My husband is similar to what's on that page, but there are quirks in my husband that I didn't think that that would be for me. And it totally is what I needed. God gave me who I needed, not necessarily what I wanted. And because what I needed is 10 times better than what I wanted. And not to say that we have the perfect relationship, because there's days that, we want to choke each other. But then just looking at him, it's funny because I remember the week before our wedding, I was in tears just looking at him some days, and I had never gotten that way over a guy before in my life. I'm like, just how blessed and how lucky I am to be marrying this guy, right? And there are still moments that I still get like that. And, it's just, it's different, So everybody says, oh, well, does it feel different after you get married? It does. It really does. For me, it does, because I feel like that connection and that bond is it's like we're stuck with each other. And we're not going anywhere. Marriage is work. I'm not going to lie. It is work, because you can't just leave. You have to, make an effort and hear each other out. And you don't here to listen, don't hear to speak. And so, yeah, so that's been a pivotal moment in my life too, like finding all this out. And so all that to say that the man God has for you may not be the man that you think is the man for you, but I'm telling you, it works out better.
Right. So get rid of the list.
Yes. And so, yeah, getting back to the original thing. So I'm looking at the question, overcoming adversity. I guess, well, that in itself, that I don't have to go into the next story, because overcoming my own self to realize what I needed versus what I wanted, are two different things, but it works out so much better when you let God in there to do the work.
All right, awesome. You were talking about if you want me to bring back to your remembrance, you were talking about your dad earlier.
Right.
If you want to finish that thought.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, like I said, my dad was my biggest hero, and we spent 2.5 years fighting cancer, and he lost his battle last September. So in a moment when I thought that my world would have ended, because I was daddy's little girl, like my dad and I were tight. And those 9 days that we had with him were the worst and best 9 days of my life. Mm-hmm. Watching someone die of cancer has, it's not even describable. In some moments I felt like I was outside of my body looking in and thinking, this isn't real. Like this, there's no way this could be real. My dad had 9 lives, and I've seen him at death's door several times. He's been gone for 10 months, and I still expect him to come walking through the door at times. And so in those moments, though, when I truly thought that I should have been falling apart, it was like God has just, it was like not only was he there for me every step of the way, he brought a tribe around me that was, I still don't know how I managed to get through all of that and not fall apart. And it's not like I felt the emotions. There were some days that I was, and intensely hurt, intensely like just crying. But I had thought in my previous that I would have not been able to handle this. And it's like God has just like really, I can't even describe it. It's just like he's just been there every step of the way and just helped me get through those moments. And someone had said it's like the phoenix rising from the ashes, and which is totally true. It's like my old self had to die off in order for me to rise. And now I think my dad as my guardian angel, and his middle name's Michael. So how appropriate is that, right? Apparently have Archangel Michael surrounding me at all times. So it's just one of those things where when I thought I would fall apart in the middle of all that, and my mom and my brother and I have come together, like we are so close. We haven't been this close that as far as I can ever remember, because my dad was kind of the glue that held us together is what I thought. But it's like in that moment, it's like whatever my dad was holding us together, it's like it's still there, but only solidified.
Oh, well, that's awesome. That's awesome. And so even in that, even in his death, his death is still speaking beyond the grave because of the legacy that he instilled and what he left in the camaraderie and togetherness is still there, and the bond got even stronger. So so that's something that can attest to your dad that still speaks and it goes on, that lives on.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And the thing of it was like in those 9 days, and I keep saying this because like midway through, we thought he was gone, like he was in a coma, and he came out of it. And it was almost like he didn't want to leave us. It was just like his love for us was so strong. And we kept on telling him, it was okay to go, that, he was in pain before he even got cancer. So when he got cancer, and the last stage of the cancer that he had was so painful that to see him in that much pain was hurting us. And we just wanted him to be at peace and, at rest with that. But it was funny because my parents used to have date night on Thursday night. So Wednesday he was in a coma. He got out of it Wednesday night. Thursday, I said to my mom, I need to go home. Like I just need a normal night, whatever normal was in that time. Right. And Thursday night was also football. So my husband and I were watching football, and my mom says to go. I want you kids to go because it's your dad and I date night. And so he was out. We had him in the hospital bed out in the front room. And so she had turned the TV on, shut the lights off, and him and her watched their movie. I think it was Survivor, but I could be wrong. It was something like that, some reality TV show that they watched together. And so I texted her and I said, "How are you?" And she goes, "I'm fine." She goes, "I'm having a date night with my husband. I'll talk to you tomorrow." Now, he was kind of out of it. He was like not really coherent, but the fact that he knew to stay and to give her that one last date night, which I think there was moments she was like, this isn't happening. Like, he's not going to die. He's not going to die. And I was just like, well, it's apparent that he's going to, I just don't know when, and I can remember holding his hand. And I said to her, and I said, there's a reason why we're going through this. And I said, the reason is so that we can help other people go through this situation as well. And she says, well, I'm glad you think that way, but I can't do that right now. And I'm like, well, it's not your turn to do it right now. And that's perfectly fine. And I can remember on those afternoons that there's only so much you can be around this, and you need to leave the house. So I would go for my walks, and I would turn on my phone, which is my camera and I would just share the message that God had in my heart at that moment and just share it with the world. And I had so many people saying to me, thank you for doing that. And so many people saying, you know, you're so courageous for doing that, considering what you're going through. We had a family member that was staying with my mom over the night. We couldn't, because he had digressed so quickly, we didn't have time right away to get the nursing staff that we needed in. Mm-hmm. So we had a family friend who was a retired PSW. So she was there from the moment we knew he was actually dying till the very end. And she said to me, she goes, yep, I knew when you needed to leave. And I was watching your video every time you left the house. So, you know, I just go for my video or go for my walk, do my video, clear my head and come back. And I think in life, that's what we have to do, you know, because sometimes it can be overwhelming. So do what you got to do, take your breather and then come back and rejuvenate.
Right. So yeah, so that's great to hear how you overcome the death of your father, because we have so many people that's out here now that's living in the world society today. They're going through grief. You know what I'm saying? They're grieving and they still grieving over the loss of a loved one, you know, and it could be 10 years, 5 years, and they still grieving. And it's not healthy, but that's good to know that you overcome the death of your father, and you grieved in a healthy manner, and you understand to be absent in the body is to be present with God. So that's great. I'm loving this. I'm loving this the direction that this is going, because it's more than definitely helping. You know, helping is going to help our viewers, for people that are experiencing, you know, the loss of a loved one. You know, even through this COVID, you still got some people, you know, in this post-COVID, post-pandemic, we still got people that's grieving, you know, and they need to know that, you know, you got to grieve in a healthy way. And even if, you know, you don't know how to get through that grief, then you might need a little extra help. You might need to go see a therapist or go see somebody that can help you. And so you can grieve in a healthy manner, so you can become a person that flourish. Now, this is a show that's dedicated to women, so women can flourish, but we want men to be able to flourish as well. And, you know, and them to be unapologetically who God called them to be as well. So there's people out there that can help you, that specialize in things, and you don't have to stay stuck and stay in the position, in the place that you're in, when there's help. So that's why we're here, to be able to help you understand, so you can hear people's stories and how they triumph over things, so you know that you too can be an overcomer. So that's what we want to get, the point that we want to get across. Now, the next question I want to ask you is, beautiful Dorthy Odell, what did you learn during your process to becoming a woman that's flourishing and unapologetic, becoming who you are?
For years, decades, even, I would say I was a certified people pleaser.
Wow.
Yeah. And there's still part of me that when my mom says something, I do it because my mom wants it done. Right. However, this woman has put boundaries up to say, okay, you know, I learned a 2-letter word that's absolutely amazing, and I use it quite regularly now, and that's no. So if I absolutely, sorry, I had no idea. It's going through my phone and this thing here. Sorry. If I don't want to do that, I absolutely say no. Right. And it's okay to say no. It's okay to have those moments and those everything. You know, it's okay to say no to somebody, and it's okay to be healthy in that, and just really press into who you are when you're doing that. And it's the most healthiest thing in the world, you know, putting those boundaries up, putting the hedge of protection around you that you need, because, and if people don't understand that, they will eventually when they get it. Right. When they actually get it, they will thank you later. And okay. So another thing that's funny, everybody used to come to me and my family and ask me for advice or to bail them out of a situation. Like I was the number one, I was the oldest, so everybody would come to me. And after my dad died, my mom said to me, she goes, yes, you were a big enabler with us. And I was like, you did not just say that. You did not just say that. So because Miss Fix It here, I started saying, okay, you're an adult now. You just start taking care of your own stuff. And I was backing away, not because I didn't love them, but okay, so for instance, my mom, my dad used to do everything for my mom. So that was another reason why I wasn't sure how she was going to pan out with us after my dad left us. And so I held back though, because her and I, even though he was alive, we went to the funeral home and we started making the arrangements because we knew it was only a matter of time. So I held back and I let her take the course, and she did fabulous, better than I ever expected, ever in my wildest dreams.
Okay. Okay.
Going through all this, like when someone dies, there's so much paperwork that you have to do, right?
Right.
So I figured that I would have to take like weeks off work, go help her, and that wasn't the case. My mom took care of it all by herself. She did ask for my input and everything like that, and that's what she said. I said, I'm so proud of you, and for doing this, for stepping up and doing it yourself. And she's just like, well, yeah, because you enabled us the entire time. And I'm like, how many times did they sit back and laugh at me because I'm the fool trying to figure everything out? And as you're saying that, I had another phone call just come in now trying to fix another situation. And I'm like, no, not my monkey, not my circus.
You more than definitely got to overcome, be in a position, in a place where you overcome that, because that's something that in this season that my husband and I have learned, because we've been, enablers of our children, and we didn't know that. We were enabling our children with giving them everything they want. You understand what I'm saying? And so when something happens, they fall apart because mom and dad is always there to fix their situation, fix their issues, and get them out of the situation they're in. But now you're grown, you got to grow up. Like you said, it's time for you to grow up. And I told you before, no is an anointed word. You know what I'm saying? And in this season, what we're doing is showing up for Alton and Nikkei, because we always showed up for so many other people. But when it came time for people to show up for us, well, where you at? I can't see you nowhere. Honey, I see dust clouds. You hear what I'm saying? So what we doing is we showing up for Alton and Nikkei is what we doing, showing up for each other. I'm showing up for me. He's showing up for him. So that's a part of your process of healing, is showing up for you, and then realizing, okay, this is what I'm doing, so I need to change that. You know what I'm saying? If I'm a professional fixer, you can't fix people's issues and problems. They have to want it. You understand what I'm saying? And that's another thing that we've learned, even in ministry. We cannot want something better than what the person wants themselves. You understand what I'm saying? Because we want to see it. We see where their potential, their future, or what God is saying about their situation, but you don't quite get it. So, okay, well, let me leave you where you at right now, and let me pray you through your process.
Right.
You understand? So that's what you got to learn, because you put undue stress on yourself, and then it's false burdens that you put on yourself. Mm-hmm. So that's good that you learn that, because that's some of the stuff that we learn, honey. So we right there, baby. We right there. You hear what I'm saying?
Yep. As a matter of fact, March of this year, one of the biggest outside of my father's death, one of the biggest obstacles that's come to our family came to us. And normally we would have went to my dad was the number one fixer while my dad wasn't around. So they started putting it on me, and I'm just like, hold up, false
burden, you way down. Goodness, man, I'm trying to take some steps, and I'm trying to soar here. I can't even get up 2 feet up off the ground. What's going on? You got all these weights and all these burdens of other people's issues and other people's problems. No, cast all that stuff to God, because he said, cast it all to me, because I care. And that's what you do. And that's what we've learned to do in ministry with our children, with our family, to just cast the cares and lead them right where they at, and pray them through their process. You understand what I'm saying? I'm still going to love on you. I'm going to love on you. But right now, you're not getting it, and I got somewhere to go. You understand what I'm saying? And you a weight, and that weight that that burden that you trying to put on me, that weight is keeping me held down, and I got to move. It's some things in the earth that I got to do, and right now you're not good for me. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what you got to learn to do. Leave people, no matter where they family, you love them, but love them right where they at. You understand what I'm saying? And pray them through their process until they get it, until they change. Come, you understand what I'm saying? Because we're not nobody's fix. Only the Holy Spirit can do that.
Exactly. Okay. Exactly. I love that. And I've been telling my family, you guys did it, so now you guys fix it.
Right.
And, I'm like, I love you both. I see both your sides. I'm not saying either one of you is wrong, but don't get me involved. I'll be there for each of one of you.
Right.
But don't get me involved.
Right. Absolutely. Now, my next question is, what advice or strategies would you give to a woman that's struggling to flourish and recognize that she have kingdom authority to be able to unlock things and shift her own life towards destiny and purpose?
Well, definitely, number one, what does your morning routine look like? I would have to say mine is I sit and I meditate for my first 15-20 minutes of my day, and I give gratitude and thanks to everything that that has come my way. Giving thanks in the most crappiest situations has gotten me through it. Like I swear, when you see your best friend dying in front of you, and you just give thanks that there's going to be no more pain shortly.
Yes.
That's the only way you can get through it. I promise you. Surround yourself with your amazing tribe of women, people that are going to lift you up, people that are going to be there for you, but not let you stay stuck in your crap. And I mean that in the most polite way possible. People that are going to call you on your stuff too. Right. Because if they're not calling you on it, then they're just enabling you.
Right. Come on. You better talk today, honey.
Yeah. And just really, and it's been fabulous because I never had that before. Last January, God put 7 women in my life that I know are the reason how I flourished through my dad's death. Like, there is no way. That is the only way possible. Right. Well, without him, like him, my tribe, and putting those. That's the only thing I can describe. I have never had somebody. As a matter of fact, I have a business partner that is absolutely amazing, and at times I thought that my heart must have been frozen. Like, just, I don't know, just so much that had gone on. And it was hard for me to feel at one point in my life. Like, I just shut everything off, and it's taken me some time, and I'm feeling my way through everything. And I'm not really liking the feeling, but I'd rather feel than be frozen.
Right. So you gaining your feeling back after being numb. Right. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So she's like, I love you, and just let me help you. And so this week, when I said it was my tipping point, ladies and gentlemen, I wasn't kidding you. I just said it was my tipping point in everything. And this week I've had to lean on people where, I grew up in a family, God love them, I love everybody, but you didn't ask for help because that meant you were weak, or you owed them something. That is how I grew up. So that for 40 some odd years, that's what I knew. So now I have to take a step back and trust that people are actually going to do what they say they're going to do.
Wow. Right.
And so that in itself has been a lesson, for me, and I've gotten the lesson. So, I realized this week I could count on my business partner. I realized I could count on my husband. I realized I could count on, my boss at work. There are certain situations, and I figure, they pay me to figure it out. But then I get to a certain point and there'll be like a stop because, people don't like being told no at work. Imagine that. So, right. You're laughing, but it's true. So they are
not well. They are not well.
I've spoken out to my bosses and I said, listen, this is why I'm like, this is what it's so. Not putting any trauma on it, just saying, hey, this is what's happened. I get my boss saying, well, don't worry about it. Just send them to us. I'm like, seriously? So I'm like, everything that's come up, God's like, step aside. So I've been stepping aside, and boom, there it is. Boom, there it is. Boom, there it is. So trusting God that it's going to happen, even though, like, I know where I'm headed, I know where I'm going, but knowing and seeing how you want it to come out is not how you thought it would come out at all, and trusting and believing that it doesn't matter what it looks like right now, the end result is going to be 10 times better than what you even thought.
Right.
So just trusting in God and just trusting in yourself, because if you don't trust yourself, then those voices inside of your gut, your head, whatever you call it, you really need to trust that. And when I go against what my gut tells me, I get into trouble every time. But the moment I trust my gut, it's just like boom, boom, boom. There it is.
That inner witness, the Holy Spirit. So leading you and guiding you.
Yeah. So, and that's another tip, just recognizing who you are and whose you are. Because if and don't let other people tell you, because what other people think is none of your business anyways.
Right.
And let me say that again. What other people think of you is none of your business. Right. And for years, I cared what other people thought. Mm-hmm. And you're not going to get to the level that I'm getting to by caring what other people really think of you. To own the largest production company in the world, you can't think of what somebody off the street that is still singing in front of a TV that has not left the remote since 1960 and is just sitting there filling their head with crap on the news. You can't do it.
Right. You have to be careful anyway with people that you share your vision with, because you got dream killers, you got people that dream smugglers that come in and try to shift things, and so you have to be careful. And then just like we said, who you surrounding yourself around is important. You know what I'm saying? It's very important for the circle of people and who you surround, because who you surround yourself around, it says a whole lot about you, your character. You know that?
Yeah.
So you have to be really careful in who you share things with, because I can't be around people with a poverty mindset, and I got a multi-billion-dollar mindset, and then I'm trying to tell you my dream and my idea, and you don't get it, honey. You can bounce jigaboo with that foolishness. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why I said you got to be around like-minded people that not for one have the heart of God. If they have the heart of God, they're gonna have your heart. So you got to be around people, for one, that has your heart. You understand what I'm saying? So if they have your heart and they got the heart of God, then things are going to be okay. And that's another thing that I learned in a part of my overcoming, and to be able to flourish in this earth as a woman unapologetically, So let me see. The next question that I'm going to ask you is, let me see how much time we got. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners that we did not discuss? Now, I know you, out of all the topics that you wanted to discuss about the veterans. I don't know if you want to say anything about that, but I know that's something that's near and dear to your heart.
Absolutely. I kind of alluded to it at the beginning a little bit, but so with the show that I do a veteran series, and it opened that first episode started January 31st, I believe it was episode number 44, and since then my world has been rocked of what I've learned of veterans, and first responders and EMS, all amazing men and women. And so I have this series that I'm putting together, and I'm pitching to TV networks, and getting that whole series out there. And the reason why I want to do that is because each one of these men and women not only have gone through their own PTSD, have gone through their own things that they've dealt with, but they're helping others. And they have organizations that are out there that are helping our veterans with their PTSD and their suicidal ideations and things like that. So much so that I believe in this, that I become co-chair of a veteran organization in Lakeland, Florida. And so my heart, I believe we truly, now this is going to sound insane, and people are going to say, well, who are you to change this? Well, here's who I am. I am the daughter of God. And this is who I am. And so my thing is we need to start making changes on the inside of those networks, right? On the inside of the military, on the inside of the police force, on the inside
Right.
of the EMS, right? We need to make sure that yes, these men and women are trained to kill, but they're also we need to keep them at a state of when they leave, when it's time to leave, or even as they're dealing through the trauma, to actually deal with it, not bottle it up.
Right.
Because these men and women are bottling up decades worth of stuff, and then when they retire, they're supposed to come back to civilian life and act like everything's okay. We're losing 28 veterans a day by suicide. The divorce rate inside of a veteran family is 82% divorce rate. I just heard yesterday the divorce rate among special agents is 92%.
Right.
We need to do better by these men and women that put their life on the line for us. So that needs to start from the inside out. I know people and organizations that are in there working to pass different bills to make sure that these men and women are getting help from the inside. Now, for the men and women that are still on the outside that are struggling each day, we have programs. We have different facilities that we put them through. I have contacts with at least 3 different doctors in the Florida area, Florida, North Carolina area, that can help these men and women with their PTSD. There's a certain thing called TRIP. We get them through that. And then there's also different protocols with hyperbaric pressure and things like that to help these men and women through this. So my mission is to make sure these missions are front and center for the world to see, so that we can get our veterans, our first responders, from 28 a day down to 0, like dying from 28 a day dying down to 0, and to make sure that we start changing from the inside out so that we get them before they leave, right? And because and let's face it, it's not fair that, like, when you're married to these men and women, I get it that you're at home with the kids, and I get that there have been what they've seen they don't even want to talk about when they get home. And when I listened to a retired police officer, and he said, Dorothy, I just finished a 12-hour shift. I come home to my family. I just want to take a shower. I want to wash everything off of me that I just seen, that I just witnessed. And then I want to take my kids and I want to hug them. But my wife is sitting there nagging at me saying, listen, at least you got out of the house. I've been here for 12 hours taking care of them. Just take your kid and watch them. Well, if we talk to the spouses at the same time that we help the other spouse, and just say, listen, can I give them 20 minutes to go have that shower, to feel clean again, and they will help you. And make them understand, so that it's not some kind of contest on who's right and who's wrong, or, be upset with each other. Let's understand each other where we're at and help bridge that gap.
Right. That's that they need some psychoeducation. Those
Yes.
that experiencing people that's going through PTSD and trauma, they need to be taught, the families when they come together, psychoeducation in the family unit. That's a part of something that I do too, working with people with PTSD as well. My husband has PTSD also, from him being 20 years in the military and combat as well. So I understand from living with somebody with PTSD, being a spouse, and also working with people with PTSD. So on all angles, I understand that. So they more than definitely need to be have some psychoeducation on how to deal and handle with that, because they don't know. And sometimes when they do that, that can cause triggers. And then that's why the divorce rates are so high, because of the triggering. You understand what I'm saying? They don't know how to handle it,
Right.
And that's why. So they get triggered. They say, well, I can't deal with this. I can't handle this. So I'm just going, what I'm saying? I'm just going to walk away. But if they was educated about it and know how to recognize, even the person themselves with the PTSD, recognize their triggers. And when they starting to be triggered, and they can self-soothe and calm themselves down. And then the spouses can recognize, oh, okay, that was a trigger. Let me, what I'm saying? Okay, when you start to recognize different things, it'll help. It'll help with the situation.
Absolutely. And so as a society, we need to do better. And
Right.
and it's, I can't believe it, but I've had several veterans say to me, I thank you for what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, they said never in this lifetime have we had civilians come alongside us and recognize what we've done, number one, and number two, try and help us. And I was like, well, shame on the people that haven't been, because to me, you know, they put their life on the line for us. So the least we could do is be there to support them.
Right.
And I've always felt that way. I've had family members that have served in the Canadian Armed Forces. You know, so I kind of get that part of it.
You're over there in Canada.
Yeah, I'm in Canada. So, you know, I have had family members that have served. So, you know, I don't know, like my dad never did, or my brother never did. I mean, my brother was a cadet, my dad was in cadets, but still, I mean, I was talking to a veteran last night and she goes, what made you decide to work with veterans? So I said, you know, I just feel a kinship. It's like they're my brothers and sisters, and I feel that I can trust them. I said, because when a veteran tells you they're going to do something, they do it. Yeah. They are their word.
Yeah,
they are their word, and they will follow through. And there's not too many people that I've come across in my lifetime that are like that are civilians. And I have always been, if I'm going to tell you I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, or I'm going to die trying.
Right. Now, how can our listeners stay connected to you? Are there any products that you want to offer? And I want you to give your social media handles, your website, you know, how they can buy your book.
Right. Well, that book you can either get on Amazon, or you can get, everything is on my YouTube, or on my, what do you call that? Website. Thank you. My website, which is www.unstoppableovercomers.com. And to stay connected socially, I'm usually more on LinkedIn than anywhere else. And my LinkedIn handle is Dorthy Ann Graham Odell. I am on Facebook too, and that's Dorthy Graham Odell. So whatever you want, whatever you pick, that's fine with me. And of course, our show is on our YouTube channel, which is Unstoppable Overcomers as well. So it's I try to keep things simple. One name says it all. Unstoppable Overcomers.
Right. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate you so much for being on Flourish Women TV on today, and us being able to learn about you, how you overcame, how you're helping others to overcome, and you're unapologetically being you, and then helping them to unapologetically be who they are. So our hashtag is unapologetically me. So thank you again. I appreciate you so much, and I love you. I love you, and I'll be talking to you soon. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.